Hi, I'm John Brown.
And I'm Ian Brown.
And today we're going to review
Pathfinder Adventure Card Game.
Alright, instead of doing a full review, we're just going to kind of talk about our thoughts about the game. If you want to see a full run-through, Rado does a great run-through. Also Talks over Chris Happen does a great run-through of the game too. If you want to see a pretty brief, succinct idea of how to play, Starlit Citadel does a great job. Instead, we're just going to more talk about our opinions about the game. The stated goal of this game was to make it so that it can be almost like a role-playing adventure in a short period of time, scalable to any number of people, and also to agree like a board game. But the question is, there was a lot of promises, a lot of hype leading up to this game, and does it really lead up to it? It's a good question. Ian and I have played a little bit of role-playing, pretty much mouse guard, but let's get into, just what's in the box, the real simple stuff, and then what we think about if it lived up to the idea or not. Of course, in the giant box that you do get quite a few cards. Obviously, there's a lot of empty space with more room for expansions. I've added a few dice sets of my own. You don't have to. You can just play it with the dice that are provided with the game, but it makes it a lot easier when you are, having to roll multiples of a dice to have multiple sets. And then different characters you can make, so on and so forth. Like I said, there are other videos on that, and then we have the characters that we were using in our adventures right up here. And like I said, we're not going to get into the mechanics of how you, or the mechanisms of how you play the game too much. But as you've probably seen in a lot of other videos, this is your life, your deck, and then your different abilities, and you go through them, and if you run out, you die, and then you'll come across lots of different things, either good things or bad things that you'll test against, and in the end try to, in most cases, defeat the villain. But does it live up to the feel of a role-playing game in a briefer time, and how scalable is it? So let's talk about what we think about the game. And so you and I have played a little bit of role-playing games and stuff. Do you think this game feels like a role-playing game at all?
Not exactly, because it's really like a board game, because there's these cards, you just go around to different locations, pick up cards, and see what you drew.
Okay, so it's not quite like a role-playing game with what you do in the game, because it is kind of revealing a card and doing what it says, but does it feel like a role-playing game where you have different adventurers doing different things?
Well, it's still kind of like a board game, because you have to move around, see what's where, but the party group you go around with, you can, if you balance it right, it can be a really good combination, and because one of the cards that can scout ahead, so you know where some of the people are or traps, so you can shut down the location.
Yeah, so we played quite a few 3-player. Well, we played some 3-player and 2-player games. And the 3-player game, so we had you could choose not to do an encounter, so you could kind of scout, so we'd know. So you came across like the villain one time, so we knew where he was, and we could do other stuff. And then I was kind of a healer, and Stephen was beating people up because he was the fighter. And then you and I played some, and you were really good at beating trap. So the characters' abilities and stuff are pretty cool, and how you balance each other. So that is a good thing, right?
And yes, and also, sometimes your character is better for certain missions.
Yeah.
Because for the first mission, the fighter is really good because they're just enemies. But on the second mission, you want to be good at disabling traps.
Yeah,
poison traps.
Yeah, because you have henchmen, and we had a bunch of. So if you didn't have anyone who's good at traps, then that mission would be pretty tough, huh? Right, so what do you think about the fact that your character is a deck of cards, but your deck gets better, you get better items and better abilities and stuff through the game?
That's really neat, because along the way you can pick up new cards, and you may need them to use on higher complexity missions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the missions get harder, so you need to get better, huh?
And also, in certain missions, you can level up your character. So you start with a certain a number of each, but then you can put a chalk mark in one box, and then basically, maybe if you put it on one of the things that, like items, on the person, who's good at having items instead of 6 would get 7.
Yeah, and then you can, like, you have some stuff. It'll be helpful when you get proficient in weapons, because right now you have some cool weapons, but they're not that great until you're proficient in weapons. And so there's different ways you can get more cards in your deck and more stuff like that. So that's something we like about the game, huh? All right, so what do we think about the game overall? Is it a really fun game?
Yes, because it's neat trying to see what will happen and stuff. And the timer really balances it out.
Oh, yeah, because we didn't talk about how to play the game too much, because there's a lot of videos about that, but the timer makes it tricky, because what, if you go for a longer time, you might get more cool stuff, but then you might end up losing the mission if you take too long, huh? Oh, yeah, and we've had some hard choices to balance, do we want to close a location? And sometimes you have to give up cards totally to close a location. You didn't like that, huh? You didn't like having to banish cards. Alright, so this game I think Ian and I have pretty similar feelings about. There are definitely some neat things, putting together a team, and I like how well it scales. You can play this solo. I'm not a big solo gamer, but you could play as multiple heroes. So you probably want more than one hero, because you do want to balance each other out, and they will be more powerful in certain missions. So, it's nice to have a healer fighter, that, classic party stuff. Deciding if you want to split up or stay together is important. There are a lot of important decisions. You have those moments where it's like, oh, I really want to get this item, and everybody throws in blessings to help you, and you don't get it, and it's so disappointing. Or you don't think you will get it. Maybe you need to roll a 10 on a 10, and you do get it. So there's definitely exciting moments in the game. It definitely. I remember seeing some videos before it came out. It was actually a game I pre-ordered, and the way they talked about it being like this quick, scalable role-playing game, I didn't think it would quite live up to that, and it really hasn't. It is pretty similar. Right now I just have the character add-on. I haven't got any of the later chapter packs, and I have heard some people say that they haven't really changed up the formula very much. It's more just kind of hunting down the villain of the mission. So there's a lot of interesting choices in each mission, but it definitely doesn't live up to that role-playing feel. We're not huge role-play gamers here, and I hear a lot of sentiments about people who love it and people who hate it. I think we're both a little bit in between. I think all three of us have played. We like the game. We think it's fun. There's neat choices. I don't think it lives up to the hype that they were trying to make for it. It is. I don't even want to call it a deck builder. I like how the characters stay persistent. And you could look at it, and the people who don't like the game and say, oh, you just flip over a card and do what it says. There is more to it than that. There is a lot of decisions that go into it. And if you go into it with the right attitude, I think it's a very enjoyable game, but it's certainly not a role-playing game. So maybe not everything it was lauded to be, but that doesn't mean it's a terrible game. I think it's something that we both enjoy quite a bit. Alright, so overall, what do you think? If you're looking to replace a role-playing game, or to have it as a short role-playing game, it probably doesn't fit that, huh? Would you say no to that? It's not quite the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we think overall, if you're not looking for that, if you're just looking for a fun game, it's pretty cool. Yeah, because your characters stay the same, and your party you're putting together is kind of fun, huh? So, what do you think?
Also,
yeah?
You stay as your character, like in other games where you just stay as one character.
Yeah.
So you build your deck however you want it, and stay the same character.
Oh yeah, so we played through a whole campaign of Descent, so we like that part about your character getting stronger and keeping the same character, huh? So that's cool, huh? And if you look at it that way, it's just a fun game. We do think it's pretty cool. All right, you just want to say bye and thanks for watching?
Bye-bye, and thanks for watching.
All right, and Oz says bye too, but he's a little too tired. All right, bye everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.